Da-da-da, Mr. K Online. Hi, and welcome to Writing a Retell. So, what is a retell? Well, a retell is when you tell the most important parts to a story or an event from the beginning to the end. Some important parts to a retell are characters, setting or settings, and the big events that happen along the way in your retell. Now, when you're doing a retell, there are some words that make it a little bit easier for the reader or listener to actually understand what part of the retell you're telling them. And those words are words like firstly, then, next, after that, finally, or in the end. Now, obviously, if you're talking about the beginning of a story or a retell, you'd use the word firstly. If you're trying to indicate something that's happened in the middle of the retell, you could use words like then, next, or after that. And then if you were trying to indicate something that happened at the end or near the end, you could use the words finally or in the end. I'll show you what I'm talking about so far with how to write a retell. I've got my own example here, and it's called My Weekend. It's a favourite in elementary schools and primary schools for children to write what they did on their weekend, a retell of their weekend. I'm going to read it to you. My weekend. Firstly, I went to visit my friend Jeremy at the beach. Then we went surfing. Next, we saw a shark and we flew out of the water. Finally, we ate ice cream. So if you have a look what I've written there, you can see that I've used the important words like firstly, then, next, and finally. I used firstly at the beginning of the retell. I've got then and next indicating the middle of the retell. And then I've got finally towards the end of the retell. I've also talked about characters. I've talked about, myself. I've talked about Jeremy. I've talked a little bit about the shark as well. I've also talked about the setting, which is the ocean, the beach, the water. So a lot of the important parts that I've talked about are in this story, and all the events, all the important big events that happened, like example seeing the shark, I've written about as well. Also, I've used all those words that I said are very useful for doing a retell, like firstly, then, next, after that, finally, or in the end. So there you go. That's how you do a retell. But remember, it's about the most important things in an event or a story. It's about something that has a beginning, middle, and an end. And you also can use very effectively or usefully words like firstly, then, next, after that, finally, or in the end to indicate what part of the retell you're telling the listener or the reader. Thanks for listening to Writing a Retell, and I hope you go well with trying your own retell. See you next time.